to C-21. A lot of developments have happened in the past few weeks. Liberals trying to sneak in an amendment during the committee process to circumvent Parliament during the first process and the first readings of it. And of course, you saw Carey Price, the Montreal Canadiens goalie, who came out against these amendments. And of course, he committed the mortal sin, which is to go against the left. And now the media and the pilers on are all over him. I think his message was right. He's not a criminal. He loves his country. He loves the sport and the pastime of hunting. And of course, he spoke up. And now the articles are, we should not retire Carey Price's jersey as a Montreal Canadian. This whole leftist pile-on is happening over an issue of the Liberal government once again trying to sneak around and punish those who enjoy the sport of hunting.
You know, what's troubling about this particular bill on C-21, we all saw it, and it was brought to the House, and it was the Liberal government's attempt to improve public safety. We would all agree that we will do and work with all of our colleagues in the House to actually improve public safety. Excuse me, but Bill C-21, as was introduced and debated in the House of Commons, was about a handgun freeze, about curtailing the use of handguns, red flag laws, all those things to try and keep the public safe from handguns. It then got to committee a couple weeks ago, and at committee we were prepared to do it clause by clause to wrap up and submit the report to government. And what did the Liberals do? They put in 46 amendments to their own bill, and then they introduced a brand new definition of what a prohibited firearm was to try and define, a definition of a military-style assault weapon that they had used from May of 2020, a handgun ban or a gun ban. They introduced it at the 11th and a half hour as we're going through this, and Section G of that particular Amendment 4 was all about redefining prohibited weapons to include long guns, shotguns, anything with a center fire cartridge that is capable of firing semi-automatic, that the gun is capable of holding a magazine that can accommodate more than 5 rounds. Well, in Canada, most hunting rifles their magazines are pinned to 5. It's illegal. It's a prohibited device to have a magazine with more than 5 rounds in it. And again, what are they trying to do? By adding this now into legislation, it has caused an uproar across the hunting community. Before, it was the sport shooters. It was the airsoft. It was the paintballers. It was those the Olympic shooters. Those are the people that were really concerned with C-21 and had huge concerns. There's also very many women's groups who said that the red flag laws were useless because we already had laws to deal with it. So the Liberals were already under the gun from the previous iteration of C-21, and now they throw in hunters and more sport shooters and farmers under the bus, and it makes no sense. There is no evidence to show that this targeting of hunters will have any impact on public safety. We've always said, and the government prides itself, they say we are evidence-based decision makers. However, there's no evidence to support what they've done. I think it's the other way around. It's decision-based evidence making. That's what they're doing here. And it makes no sense. They rightly so. The Canadian hunters in this country, hunting groups, outfitters, farmers and ranchers from across our country are very concerned that they're going to be administrative criminals overnight because of misguided approach to public safety. And our colleague Raquel Doncho, our public safety critic, has done an admirable job and those of us on committee and our colleagues of bringing this issue to light. And Canadians just need to step up and let their feelings be known. You get a hold of Mendocino, get a hold of the Prime Minister and Liberal MPs from across the country, and let them know what you really think about this bill.
This is a full-on attack to the ability for hunters who've enjoyed this particular sport, who enjoyed this particular activity to feed their families for as long as this country has been in existence. And what I find very disturbing, given your portfolio and my portfolio as shadow cabinet ministers, is that this is a full-on attack to Indigenous communities. And I just read a report this morning in preparation for this podcast, Jamie, that indicated that a spokesperson for a number of Indigenous leaders across this nation who were here in Ottawa last week for a 3-day conference indicated that the RCMP in some parts of the north are already seizing, before this is even passed, seizing rifles and seizing handguns that many in the northern parts of this country are using for traditional hunting purposes. This is a full-on attack to the treaty rights that Indigenous leaders and hunters have enjoyed in this country for decades. So it's not only impacting Canadians, it's impacting those relationships that we have with our Indigenous nations.
Absolutely. I think this is waking up people who normally don't pay attention to this kind of stuff, don't care either way, but I think when it comes to actually going a step too far, right? I think many people want the shootings by gangs to stop. Is this the correct method to do that? We have said for a long time, no, this is not going to stop one shooting. It sadly is going to continue until you look at the criminals. But in the government sides, it's easier to go after the law-abiding citizen because they're going to follow the law regardless. They might gripe about it. They might feel that they're being infringed upon, but they're going to follow the law.
It's lazy government. You look at, seriously, you look at
it is lazy government.
You look at the crime stats since this government has come in to be in 2015 have escalated. Violent crime is up for a multitude of reasons. Gang crime is up. The focus is misguided. Let's target those who want to get into gangs, and there's great movements across the country that can work to keep kids out of gang life. Let's deal with the smuggled firearms. Our police services are telling us across the country that the majority of the crime guns being used are smuggled in from the United States, and they are not. The legal firearm owners in this country have never been the problem. Let's focus on the holes in our border, get CBSA some resources and some joint force work, and let's focus on our gangs and those who commit crimes in our communities, not those who are lawful Canadians already.